Hello everyone and welcome again to our first week of History of Photography 2. You'll notice already that this course is a little bit different from the History of Photography 1 course in that we mostly are looking at the different genres of photography. So this week we'll get to start out with the genre of photojournalism. And then you'll see as we go into next week we'll be looking at documentary and some things that are kind of tangentially related. But this week we'll really be looking at photojournalism. You'll get to look at a lot of images from World War II, from the Vietnam War, and we'll be thinking about ethics and techniques and the different photographers who are important in this genre. So you're asked to read in your book several different sections. Really look at what's required for the reading because it's not the entire section, it's just different pieces of that section. But in your book, you'll be looking at Larry Burroughs, you'll be looking at Bruce Davidson, Mary Ellen Mark, I think some of you will be very interested in. We'll be looking at Sebastião Salgado, Eugene Smith, Ouija is always a favorite. So you'll get to do that this week, and hopefully some of that reading will be really interesting to you. I guarantee you some of it will not be very interesting to you, but hopefully you'll find some pieces that will spark your interest. This week we'll have 4 different assignments, and the first one is actually due today, due the day that you're probably watching this, your first day in the course, and that's your autobiography. I'm sure you've done these before, as it's required in almost every course at the Art Institutes. So you just go ahead and pop up your autobiography. I'd like it if you could put up a few of your images, a little bit of a portfolio up there, just so we can get to know you as an artist, as well as a person in your autobiography. And I'd love to know what you're expecting from this course, what you liked or didn't like from Photo 1, the areas that you might need a little extra help with, the areas that you're really looking forward to. So I'd love to know those things as you write your autobiography. I know there's a tendency to sometimes just use the same autobiography again and again, but I'd love to know those specifics about your experience with photo history. And some of you are probably kind of nervous about some aspects of this, whether it's the writing or the research. So I'd love to know that so I can help you get through it. And I want to again reiterate that you can reach out to me anytime. Better to do it earlier in the course, and I can help you work on some different techniques to get through the course and give you some alternatives. So always be willing to reach out to me. I'm available on telephone, I'm available via email, I'm available in the classroom in the questions for the professor or the problems and solutions tab. Lots of ways to talk to me. If you'd like to Skype, we can work that out as well. So please reach out to me if you're having trouble, and reach out to me early in the course so that we can get through this together. There's far too high of a failure rate in this course, unfortunately, and I found that those people who are having difficulty, the earlier you get to me, the better able we are to get you through the course and to get you a good grade and pass and all of those good things. So this week, we have the autobiography is due today, Thursday. On Saturday, your discussion questions we do. So you just have to answer one of the discussion questions. And these are about ethics, about photojournalism. So I think they'll be interesting for you. You'll be able to bring in some of your own opinions. I want to remind you that you should be answering this within the body of the forum post, not as an attachment. It's just easier for us to be able to respond to each other quickly and to actually have a dialogue and a conversation, which is really the important part of that. So answer all the full question, whether it's asking you for some background, some opinions, and often it's asking you to support your opinions with a few different examples. So make sure you're not ignoring any piece of that, and then you'll have to respond to 2 of your colleagues before the end of the week. Again, the earlier you're responding to your colleagues, the more able we are to get into a discussion. So watch for my responses to your discussion question post to kind of see some of the things that I'm asking you to do. I want substantive comments to your colleagues, not just, hey, great job, but rather, oh, when you said this is what I saw, and I want to add this, or I have this question about that, or I found something different. Those are substantive comments. And that's what I'd like to be seeing you giving to your colleagues, because you're helping each other in this course as much as I'm helping you. Monday, we'll have your ethics in photojournalism assignment is due, and that assignment is going to be about Eddie Adams' street execution of a Viet Cong prisoner. So you'll need to do some background research. A lot of this is opinion. Just make sure that you're supporting your opinions and that you're doing thorough research on these assignments and that you're citing your sources. That is extremely important. Your final project assignment is something you'll see each week. But this week it's a little bit different, because this week, by Friday, you'll need to give me your list of photographers that you'll be working on. And for each photographer on that list, I need to have a source listed in correct MLA format. This is number one, so that I know that you can find sources on your photographer. Number two, this is so that I can see that you know correct MLA format. And number three, this is so we can make sure that there's not a lot of overlap in terms of the photographers that you'll be studying. Because part of this assignment throughout the course is not only for you to work on a photographer, but also for you to learn about the photographers that each of your colleagues are working on. So ideally, you would each be working with a different list. Often that's not a possibility, and some of you may be working on the same list. You'll see that I will also post an alternative list from which you can select, because some of the photographers on our list are people like Eddie Adams, who we do a substantial paper on in other parts of the course. So some of you may enjoy doing 2 papers on one photographer and really getting further in depth, but some of you may want to experience another photographer and get to do some research on 2 different photographers. So if that's your situation, and let's say you pick that list where Eddie Adams is on it, and this week we have our Eddie Adams ethics question, if you don't want to do 2 Eddie Adams, look at my alternative list, because it'll provide you with a different name rather than Eddie Adams, and you can choose that list instead. So just let me know when you post that final project photographer list, which will be posted in the problems and solutions section, not in the final projects section. So you'll go to the problems and solutions section for week 1, and that's where you'll post your photographer list. And just tell me photographer list number 3 or alternative photographer list number 3. So I know whether you're going to be doing the alternative or the typical. So once you have that photographer list in, by Monday you will have to finish your paper on the photographer of your choice. That paper should give me background on your photographer, should place the photographer within the canon of photo history. Now you do this by talking about the people who influenced your photographer, as well as those who were working concurrently and those who may have been influenced by your photographer. That's really the major part of this assignment, is to place your photographer within the canon. What makes this photographer unique? What makes them different? What makes their work similar or different to other people working at the same time and in the same genre? This isn't necessarily other photographers who cite your photographer as a source, or photographers who your photographer cites as a source, but rather people that you see as being influential or being influenced by your photographer. So we'll go through that, because this is an assignment that will happen every week. So as you turn this in, we'll be able to evolve, and you'll pick up on these things. You'll also need to provide 3 images by your photographer, and you'll need to critique these. You're going to critique all of the 3 images. This isn't just, oh, this is a picture of a Vietnam soldier. This is supposed to be a complete description, an interpretation of what you're seeing, and a analysis of it. So you'll need to talk about what you see, about what it means, and about whether you find it to be a successful image. So make sure you're hitting on all three of those things when you're doing your critiques of the images. Other than that, you'll just provide that background. You'll provide the situate your photographer in the canon, and you'll provide the images with critiques. So that's pretty much it for those final project assignments. And then, as I said, next week we'll get to go into some other sort of tangential topics and genres. If you have any questions about the work that we're doing this week, if you can't find information about your photographer, if you're having difficulty on one of the assignments, post in problems and solutions. Your colleagues might have good solutions for you, or maybe struggling with the same thing. There's no question that's too silly or wrong. There's absolutely no wrong question. So post if you're having any trouble at all. It's much better to do that early and often rather than finding yourself getting overwhelmed and later on in the course not being able to pass because we don't have enough assignments left to get the points. You should all be getting the response points. You should all be able to at least respond to your colleagues. That's a lot of points in your weekly assignments. So you're going to respond to your colleagues on almost every assignment. You're required to respond to at least 2 colleagues. So make sure you're not losing those points. I hate taking those points away. Everyone should be able to get those points. It's pretty simple. You just read what your colleagues wrote. You have to just read 2 colleagues' assignments. You should be reading all of them, but read in depth 2 colleagues' assignments and just respond to some part of it. Just ask a question. Get your colleagues to advance their learning in that way. So that's something that you should all be able to get the points on, and I hope you all will. So this should be an interesting week. It's our first week. I'll try to give you a lot of feedback as quickly as you're posting so that you know where we're going and so that you have something to sit your hat on so that as we go on, you know what I'm looking for. Remember, those rubrics are on each assignment, and that tells you what I'm going to be grading. So if you haven't touched on each of those pieces in your writing, go back and put it in, and you'll have also the ability, if I respond to your post and I say, hey, I wish you had done this, or I would have liked to see this, or I ask a question, if you respond within the week, I can change your grade as well and show that you've now answered that or that you've revised your paper. So that's a possibility as well to get more points as we go through, because sometimes you'll probably forget some part of the assignment. So I'll try to give you a lot of feedback on that as well. So I look forward to reading your first papers for this course, and I hope this all makes sense. Please reach out if it doesn't, and I'll see you in the classroom.